Hey, this is B from Kongs R Us, and I just got some breaking news about a brand new Arcade1Up release that was just dropped on the FCC website. So credit goes to P-Dubs for sending a quick update that three new Capcom legacy cabs have now made their way to the FCC sites. So for those that don't know, the FCC site is a place where any particular cab needs to go through a formal FCC filings for anything that's wireless. So any of the wireless cabs, the Wi-Fi cab enabled things, they have to go through this website. And so this dropped today on June 3rd that there's brand new Capcom Yoga Flame Edition Legacy with risers. There's a Shinku Hadouken Edition Legacy with riser, and there's another Capcom Legacy Yoga Flame Edition with Wi-Fi. So it looks like there's three separate versions here that I just wanted to look at and say, hey, anytime I think there's a new exciting cab that I personally am excited about, I feel like I want to talk about it and hear some news. So my first thoughts about this are like, wow, they're not coming up with just one cab. There's three different versions of this cab coming out: a Yoga Flame one, Shinku Hadouken, and then a standard one without a riser. So here's the key things that I can see from the three different filings here. And going through this and clicking through, you can see a little bit more details about the actual equipment ranges and all the test reports. So there's no actual images of what the cabs look like on any of these filings. It really is just public information that's available to know about the testing and the parameters. But what this means is that it's gone through testing. So that means it's available to come out pretty soon. But we do have a couple of different hints about the three different versions of the cab that you can see here. There's three different model numbers: the STFA 202110, 510, and 514. So slightly different variations. They do have the labels already for all three versions of these cabs. So again, the first one we're looking at is a Yoga Flame Edition with riser. So that's number one. We have a Shinku Hadouken version with riser. So this is another legacy cab, as well as a standard Capcom Yoga Flame Legacy Edition with risers. Is that the one that I wanted to look at? Oh, so there's two with risers and one without a riser is what I was looking for, I think, on here. So yeah, here's a Capcom Yoga Flame Edition with Wi-Fi. This one doesn't say riser. So my speculation is that they'll have a standard version of the Yoga Flame artwork, whatever that is. I'm sure it should be a Dalsim type of artwork that you would see, one with the riser, one without. And then obviously one is that's called a Shinku Hadouken one, which should be, if they're using the right characters, it should be a Ryu type of character that's on the side of the artwork. So I have no idea what this is going to look like. I thought this news just dropped down. So if you want to check it out, this just means legacy editions are not done this year. We thought we are going to get three new cabs dropping just in June, and we have looks like three new versions of a Capcom legacy cab. Now, what's the game lineup? What's the speculation on these? I have zero clue what these could be. Maybe they're just reskins of the old Big Blue that have different artwork and kind of still have those core SF2 games on it: Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, Hyper, and Turbo. I think it would make sense to make future Capcom legacy cabs continue to have those games on there. I know that the old Capcom Legacy had a unique playlist beyond the Big Blue, but in my opinion, I really feel like the Big Blue was very close to being a Capcom Legacy cab. It had the right number of games on it. It had a unique form factor that we see the new three Capcom or three new Legacy cabs in it, and we have online play for all these amazing games. So I would venture to guess they should have the basic three Street Fighter 2 games on this version of legacy cabs, so we can continue to expand the lobby system. If they made it unique to this cab, that would be a big detriment to the fighting lobbies. We know that Big Blue lobbies are dying currently. They're not as active as the Marvel vs. Capcom lobby. So this just helps that particular cabinet continue to grow. So three new versions of the cab. Let me know if you're a Yoga Flame type of guy, if you are a Shinku Hadouken type of guy, what you might be interested in seeing in a version of Capcom Legacy. Are there other games? Do you want to see the same lineup as Big Blue, the same lineup as the Capcom Legacy? Or are there other unique games that we should be able to see on here? Some of the true high score chasing games from Capcom. Maybe they bring Final Fight back and then they have that on there in addition to having it Wi-Fi enabled to play with somebody. That would be really fun to have Guy and Hagar and really go at that one. That would be one of my go-to games to see on a Cap K Legacy with Wi-Fi. But let me know what else you guys might see. And Dubs is here asking a really good question. He's saying, are we going to get NVC2 plus 3? Or are these the MVC2 MVCII cabs on the leaks. Arcade1Up has not confirmed MVC2 as of today. So Dubs brings up a really good point that on the previous leaks that we saw, there was something called MVC2 or MVCII. But here's the thing, MVC really stands for Marvel versus Capcom in most acronyms that you would see. Never did it say Capcom Legacy. And so it's weird that they would name these Capcom Legacies, Yoga Flame editions, the Shinku Hadouken versions, and not have that mention of MBC. So my personal heart believe that there is still hope for a Marvel versus Capcom 2 cab happening at some point in this year. There's a lot of other marquee events that could be happening very, very soon. You know, our E3 is not happening, but you don't need E3 anymore. There's other ways that companies can do their showcase, like the Sony showcase as well. There's other big fighting tournaments that are happening. So, I mean, MBC2 could still happen. It's not confirmed now, but what we do now have is hard proof evidence that on the FCC website, there's 3 different legacy cabs coming to Arcade1Up's library. So that's the most exciting thing for me. I don't know if it's going to be an XL cab, but it would be exciting. There's nothing that says XL or the different types of sizes, but actually, that might be an interesting model if they had 2 different versions of artwork. Capcom Legacy Yoga Flame Edition, and then they have this Yoga Flame. So that's that's the difference, right? So it's Yoga Flame Edition with Riser. That specifically says Riser. This one just says Capcom Legacy Arcade Yoga Flame Edition with Wi-Fi. So this doesn't have a riser, but could this be an XL cab where it's a larger version of the cab, but without a riser? So not saying riser means that it could be just the standard Walmart edition that doesn't have the marquee or the lit marquee, and it's just really base. So that could be an option here, or it could be an XL Pro. We don't know. But the 2 other versions of the cabs do say riser on it. So that's pretty much it for this video. Nice little speculation there to see what's happening on the FCC site. Again, kudos to Dubs for dropping the news on this. I saw it, and anytime I see brand new cabs or new products, those are things that I'm excited to talk about, especially ones that probably would be in my potential lineup to purchase. I've trimmed down my collection pretty much to some of the games that I know I'll be playing. Can I play these games in other ways? It's going to depend. I hope the game lineup is different enough from Big Blue that we'll see some things like Final Fight Online. Those are some things that I want to see on this Capcom Legacy, and I hope it looks different enough for me to add it into my collection. If I had to choose between the 2 characters, I probably would myself do the Shinku Hadouken version just because, you know, Shoto's and Ryu is my jam. See if I can pull it up there. So the Shinku Edition, Hadouken Legacy Edition. I just love that they came up with fun names like the Yoga Flame Edition. Depends on the artwork though. If the artwork looks badass for Dalsim, I might rock that too. Who knows? So let me know in the comments. Let me know in chat if there's anything else you guys might be looking forward to in these cabs. And that's pretty much it for this video. Thanks again. See you next time. Bye.